Hello my crafty friends, it's Beverleigh here over at Crafting Chaos with the 6th day of our Christmas series, and we're going to dive straight in. So that today we're going to make what I would consider to be a DL card. So I'm going to select the rectangle from within the basic shapes. Just going to select any rectangle, as long as it's just a straightforward rectangle, we're fine. We're going to edit it with the properties and we're going to click off the maintain aspect ratio, and we need it to be, let me just think, 8 inches by 8 inches, which is roughly right for a DL card. And then I'm going to duplicate, click off and duplicate that, and I'm going to make it by 4, like so. And then I'm going to use this one to create a score line for this one. So I'm going to select both and align them up to the top and also to the left. And then I'm going to click on the top one. I'm going to double click to expose the nodes, and first of all we want this node at the back selecting, and we click, once that's in turquoise we can hit close the property so you can see this minus the node here. Then we need to get rid of this one here and minus the node there. Now that wouldn't leave those two nodes selected. If you click on the zooming in tool, that automatically selects that line, which stops a lot of messing about. Make it a cutting line and a perforating line, and then we're going to click on the selection tool, draw around both to select both the perforated line, which will be our score line, and the card, and we're going to group them together like so, and that would form the base of our card. If you have a DL card, you can do it and cut it and score it out of an A4 or a letter size piece of card. And then what we're going to do is we're going to create a matting layer. So I need a rectangle now, so I'm just going to close. Now just bring on a rectangle, and we need it to be slightly less wide, so about 1/4 of an inch less on this axis, so 3.75, and we want it to be 7.75 here. No we don't, we want it to be, yes we do, 7.75, just getting confused a little bit there, not 76, 7, oh goodness knows where that ended up. And we're just going to test it on our file. So that's how we're looking, and it should, in theory, make a perfect matting layer for that. So then I'm going to duplicate that, and I'm going to take it down by, again, another 1/4 of an inch. So 3.5 by 7.5, say OK. And now we've got a layer for on our base card that can be a colour. I'm just going to select it, make it a... Okay, so now that we've got that first layer, that could be a colour, and I intend to actually do some watercolouring to create a background for it. So it's like a nice skyish scene, shall we say. And I'm going to not have it bright red because that's a little bit overpowering, but I am going to make it a colour so you can see. This is going to be our white layer. You could do it in any colour you want, but I'm going to make it white for the purpose of the video, and we'll make the base card white as well. In fact, I'll make it buff so you can see that we've got those different layers. So there's your card, there's your matting layer that you can either do out of papers or you can do your own inking techniques, etc. But this is going to be the important bit of this card, so I'm going to move that off to the side, and I'm going to bring on a snowflake. Now, from a previous project, if you remember, if you've been following the days of Christmas, you'll know that we already have a snowflake. So I'm going into my designs to find the correct file, and it's this one with the reindeer. I'm just the snowflake that I want, so I'm going to delete the reindeers, keep the snowflake. I don't need the star, so I'm going to delete that. So if you do need to get that snowflake because you haven't already got it, you can get it from my blog, Beverleigh 10 at Crafty Chaos, Beverleigh 10 blogspot.com, and download the file for that, or you can go to the file where to the video on YouTube where we created the file and create your own. So now that we've got that in, what I'm going to do is I'm going to resize it so that it fits on my card. I'm going to make it slightly bigger, but I'm actually going to make it a little bit taller than it is wide, and I'm going to position it. I might adjust it later, but what I'm going to do now is I want some letters, and I'm going to want the words N, E and L. So I want it to be fairly straightforward, and if I'm not happy with the letters, you can always use your type converter and choose any font that you want. But I'm just going to use this one for the purpose of the video. So I'm going to need an N, I'm going to need an E, and I'm going to need an L. So that's where we're at. So I'm going to select them all, I'm going to edit, and I'm going to break them apart, divide them. So now that they're individual letters, I can now group them and resize them. So I want them so that they're bigger but enough to fit on my card. So I think we're more or less there. I'm going to make them a little bit taller than they are, and we'll see if that still fits on. I think we're going to try it at that. I'm going to edit and ungroup. I'm just going to see how they fit on the card now. So what I'm aiming to do is have them spell out the word Noel on my card. And then if they're just a tiny bit big, I might just resize them again. So I'm just going to move that, oops, edit, undo that. Move the base one out the way, select the 3, and I've got that selected as well, sorry, just bear with. I'm going to select the 3 letters by holding my shift key down. I'm just going to group them again, just temporarily, and I'm just going to make them slightly less tall and slightly narrower. So that's doing each of the letters proportionally, so they're going to be the same. Now I'm going to position my N, and I'm going to just colour them, I think, so we can see that they're on top. So I'll make it, and I need my snowflake. We'll colour them all in pink so we can see that they're actually on the top. So I'm going to now position them on my card so that they're pleasing to me, and I'm using the snowflake for the O rather than an O, sorry. So I'm using the snowflake as the O rather than using a letter, just for the sake of people that have not, I think you've grasped what it is that I'm doing, but that's what I'm doing. So instead of having the O shape, I'm having the snowflake, and I'm just going to increase the height of that. So I know it's going to be a little bit taller than it is wide, but I think that looks okay. And I'm then going to have a look what it looks like in there. So now I'm going to select them all, and I'm going to edit and group them, and I'm also going to duplicate them, because there are a couple of ways you can actually do this card, and I'm going to duplicate that. You can either, now I'm going to send that to the back so you can see, you can either bring in the base card and your matting layer, and we're going to just arrange those centrally and vertically so that they're in the right place. So you can just simply cut everything out and stick everything down, and it will make a card like that with a matting layer. But what I'm intending to do with the file, and in fact, because I think that one, I'll let it undo that one. So that's one way of creating the card. The way I'm intending to do it, so again, just checking that they're all lined up at the bottom. So line them up. Oops, quick select them all selected. So yeah, they are all lined up to the bottom. So I'm going to put those into the middle of that white piece, edit, centre them vertically and horizontally, like so. I'm going to drag them down onto the mat, and then I'm going to go edit, process the overlap and subtract. And what that's effectively done now is punch out. So if I move this one over here, move that one back, so that's one way of doing it. Now if I fill this in white, when I move this over here, you can see that that back layer will shine through. And I think just for a simple card, if you've got a few to make, it could be really effective if you put on a few embellishments like a few gems, or you added some crystal drops or whatever. And I think if you did a nice background behind, it could make a nice wintry sort of a card. So I'm intending it to be more of a wintry sky, so if I make this like a darkish blue and then move that onto there, you can see, get the idea of how effective that's going to be. So you can either, just to review, cut the letters out and the snowflake individually, which you'd already have. In fact, you could make 2 cards out of one, really, because you could use the negative, this part, and also the letters that you get from the cutout, which you could then make into another card. And you just need to make sure you cut 2, an extra base layer for this bit, and 2 base cards. So that's Noel. You could jazz it up with a few gems, add a bit of sparkle and glitter. A very simple, but I think pleasing card. Other words related to Christmas, you could make similar sort of thing with joy, or anything really. What you think that you can use an O in, you could make it like that. So that is my 6th day of Christmas offering. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please like, share and subscribe. I hope you're enjoying the files as much as I am enjoying making them. I hope you're actually having a go at making them yourself. There's nothing like practicing to get you more familiar with using the software, and the more you do it, the easier you'll find it, because you'll find that similar techniques are used for different cards. Okay, so that's it for now, and I'll see you next time. Bye.